first poem I have is called Men at Urinals, or One Way to Fight Patriarchy. Peeing is an art, a dance. It's all about how far you stand from it, whether you lean to one side or the other, how far you lean in or arch back, unzip, and let it out. There's such eroticism at urinals. Clean, white, porcelain, delicate, like what we hold and cherish in our fingers. I can't help but stare. And we all know, those of us that have used a urinal before, that's an unspoken no-no. But I wonder, do you stretch and shake to begin? Do you patiently drip dry? Or jerk it a couple times, lovingly? Do you shove it back in willy-nilly? I love that word, willy-nilly. Or tuck it softly into its place, like an old friend. We need to know these things. We need to see that we all have dicks that serve a purpose, to piss. That we all struggle to not dribble down our pant leg. The cold wetness so different from the warmth of our cocks. To not pinch our pricks as we adjust ourselves in front of each other and do a little bounce as we adjust. I used to ignore the ritual of urinating, but now I admire and welcome all to take their place next to me, or one urinal away if there is room. That's another unspoken rule. Always get the urinal. And together, we can see how human we all are. Together, we can lean back and, like 10-year-old kids, let it fly. Thank you. All right, a little more serious. Then I have my anger-hate poem. This one's called Shiver. There are antecedents to this violence I call love. I search for connection in touches that remind like cheap souvenirs. A pinch from mother to be quiet, and the bruise that follows. The taste of blood in my mouth, and the sound of father walking away. I relish the same things that seem unlovable. As a child, I used to pick up rocks from their bed of earth, feel the underbelly cold, touch it with the tip of my tongue, feel dirty, shiver. As an adult, I drop breakable things. Alone at night with wine and cigarettes, I attempt to assemble the pieces, one, then another, back into shape. Wipe the excess of glue from the mended shards, pressed together. At times, I lacerate myself along the edges. At times, I remember how language heals and hurts. At times, I discover synonyms to replace the word love with words like repentance, like forgiveness. Thank you. And this one was it's a Valentine's poem. So I was like, and MK and I were like, I'm so sick of love poems. Although I'd love to write love poems. Let's write a hate poem. So this is what we did. This is called You Hate What You Fear. I hate blogs, Twitter, Facebook, and those online dating services. Okay, turn me off. Okay. I hate that I have an account on each one, especially those online dating services. I hate the sound of my voice on the answering machine, the lilt, the way it's tucked up inside of itself like a brooding chicken. I hate the smell and taste of black licorice. I know, I really do. It's just bad. Some of these are not true, by the way, I should say. Okay. I hate that I watch more than I do, that I vote instead of act, that I dream so that I don't despair. Hate that I want to sleep with most of the people I meet, It's distracting to visualize various neighbors, BART riders, and grocery store employees laying tight and complete against me, cigarettes in a carton, pretty, pungent, carcinogenic. But I especially hate the knowledge that I can't sleep with most of the people I meet. I hate how many young men of color are in prisons. I hate having to explain white privilege to a white person. It's even more difficult if I want to sleep with that very same person, which of course I always do. I hate how my male privilege shocks me as I walk up too fast behind someone and sense her fear. Then I despise the fact that it surprises me that I forget about it. And of course I hate realizing it's the privilege of being male that allows me to think I can sleep with anyone I want to without repercussions. Sometimes I definitely hate myself. Poems that repeat the same phrase over and over displease me. Poems with rhymes and poems with ambiguous endings, actually poems. Generally, I hate them. I hate how hearing a story can rip me open, exposed like the inside flesh of a watermelon broken in two. How stories can make me want to believe in God so that I can beg forgiveness and be forgiven. I hate how we change and how so often we don't. I can't stand the pleasure of holding hands. I can't stand how the pleasure of holding hands only makes me notice how often my hands are empty. I hate my anger sharp like cut tin. Hate the shape of my desire like a dog at the front door sitting, waiting. I hate that I've seen the movie Made in Manhattan more than once and loved it each time. Hate that I don't cry except in movie theaters, in particular during romantic comedies, i.e. Made in Manhattan, and especially when I'm on a date with someone I met through those online dating services. Hate to discover that sometimes my silence says more than my words. Hate to remember how I've spoken when I should have listened. I've blamed when I should have soothed. One thing that really drives me crazy, I know all of this about myself, how I hate so easily, so blindly, so quickly, and yet every day, I find so much more to care about, so much more to hold on to fight for, furiously, just as blindly, just as quickly. Thank you.
Thank you.